Hello everyone, so welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to learn H.A Robert Philosophy, Chapter 12, The Dynamic Action of Drugs. So I hope that you are having that textbook with you. If not, please pause this video and take it, so it will be helpful for you. And even if you're not having, then don't worry, after watching this video you can read it afterwards and it will help you to understand the concept much clearer. And I hope that you have subscribed to my channel. So if not, please do so that you will get more and more videos on BHMS. So key idea of this chapter. The chapter discusses two main concepts. The law of similars, that is the idea that like cures like, existed long before Hahnemann. Yes, but was never fully understood or applied. So this law was already discovered before Hahnemann, but it was never fully understood or it was never applied. The second one is the dynamic action of drugs. Medicines act not just chemically but also energetically, dynamically, influencing the vital force that maintains life. We know that vital force is the main crucial thing that maintains or rules our life, isn't it? So the law of similars, old but misunderstood. You may think that Hahnemann discovered like cures like, but history shows that ancient Hindus, Aristotle, Stahl and others already hinted at it, because they have already discovered but they didn't know how to apply. Application was not done. Aristotle in 350 BC stated, if simile adds upon simile. So that's why I told you to get your textbook. So there's a paragraph in your textbook what Aristotle has stated, and that paragraph clearly means that when two similar forces interact, they neutralize each other and restore balance. So one force is meeting another force, but they are similar to each other. So if those two forces interact, then they will neutralize themselves, each other, and they will restore balance. This means that if a disease and a drug which has a similar effects, those are the two forces, isn't it? Those two forces which having similar, then they can cancel out and restore health. So before Hahnemann, it was already known. If two similar things coming, then they will cancel out and they will restore the health. Stahl from Denmark and Halley from Switzerland also observed that medicines might cure by producing similar symptoms in healthy people, but they didn't test it systematically. So their observations were forgotten, sadly. So they just observed it, but they didn't make it into action. So what did Hahnemann do? What made him different? So he decided to experiment on healthy individuals. Drug proving, we know that experimentation on healthy individuals is drug proving, instead of just observing. So instead of just observing like Stahl and Halley, he just made it into action. And he wanted to establish a universal law of cure. So his works led to a scientific system approach to medicine. So Hahnemann didn't invent the idea or discovered the idea, but he just proved and perfected it. So this law of similars, like cures lies, was already observed or was already discovered by others. But it was Hahnemann who proved and perfected that law. Now let's learn dynamic action of drugs. Let's understand why homeopathy doesn't work like allopathy. Modern medicine, that is allopathy, thinks bigger doses give strong effect. They will think high dose medicine will get the person cured from that disease. They will say like that. But homeopathy works differently. It's about the energy, dynamics of the substance. The right dose isn't about quantity, it's about the energy match with the disease. So even though you are giving pulsatilla more and more, the person will not be pulsatilla patient. The person will be a lycopodium patient. Even though you are giving more and more, it doesn't work because that energy doesn't match. So instead of that, you should find the energy which matches that person. And later, if you give lycopodium just one dose, that patient will get cured. So that's what we should find, the energy matching, not quantity. It's not about quantity. So what is dynamic force? We know what is dynamic force, isn't it? It's vital force. So your body and tissues are not what keeps you alive. There is something deeper, a force that animates the body. Vital force or dynamics. This force can't be measured physically, but it controls health, disease and cure. And I suggest you to write aphorism along with this so that you'll get more marks. Because aphorism 9, we know that it's a definition of vital force. So how does a remedy work dynamically? So we know that, okay, dynamic remedy only will give us dynamic power, then only vital force will awaken, and then only we will get cure. So how does it work? A potentized homeopathic remedy doesn't fight bacteria like antibiotics. So allopathic medicines, you know that when a person is sick, you will give antibiotics so that the bacteria will be dead and the person will be relieved. But homeopathy doesn't work like that. It doesn't fight bacteria just like antibiotics. Instead, it stimulates the vital force, helping the body correct itself. So this potentized should remember, it is a potentized homeopathic remedy. If it is potentized, then the remedy will be dynamic. Okay, then only the remedy will have energy. So the dynamic energized remedy stimulates the vital force, which is also dynamic in nature. So how does it work? Instead of being an antibiotic, it just imagine it goes and tell to vital force to increase the number of natural soldiers like WBC, natural killer cells, all those kinds of cells that fight the bacteria and all the germs. So all those count will be increased and a natural body will fight against the disease. And that's how it increases our immunity. The higher the potency, the stronger the dynamic action, even if no physical substance is left. Think of it like a tuning radio. So I believe that you know to tune a radio. So if you match the right frequency, that is considered as a remedy, then you get clear music. That is considered as health. And if not, they're static. That's disease. So for example, your frequency for the music is 108. So you are from 100, you are searching the frequency like 100, 110, 100. So but when you reach 108, you will get the music, you will hear the music. So likewise, when you get the right remedy, like for example that lycopodium was the right remedy, isn't it? So if you get the right remedy only, you'll get the right health. Otherwise, what will happen? The person will be in disease state. The concept of vitalism. Vitalism, the belief that life is a dynamic force that transcends mere matter. The body tissues are seen as channels through which his life operates. So according to this philosophy, both drug and diseases are influenced by dynamic forces that cannot be understood solely through chemical or mechanical means. This chapter also links medicine to a large philosophy of life. So this chapter not only links with medicine, but another philosophy, a large philosophy of life. So what are they? There are two philosophies that has been told. First one is matter and energy. So matter and energy are indestructible energy. Because energy never disappears, it just transforms like ice to water to vapor. So this energy is only making that matter, that ice to water to vapor. Similarly, disease and cure aren't just about killing germs. They are energy transformations. So second one is everything comes from one source, and that is God Almighty. Life force, gravity, electricity, and even disease are different expressions of one divine power. Healing is about aligning with this natural law, not forcefully suppressing symptoms. This vital force is what homeopathy influences, not just the physical body. So, how homeopathy works? Homeopathy works by influencing the vital force and not just the physical body. Hahnemann's approach aligns with this philosophy. So, how did Hahnemann approach this? Disease affects the vital force first. Yes. Firstly, the disease will affect the vital force. It knows the core of the disease is vital force. That's why the disease is coming and getting vital force. Homeopathic medicines prepare dynamically, act on the same plane to restore balance. Because homeopathic medicine is also dynamic, vital force is also dynamic. So dynamic plus dynamic gives health, isn't it? This is why Hahnemann's method differs from conventional medicine, which only treats symptoms rather than the underlying dynamic disturbances. Because he knows both conventional medicine, because he was a allopath, later converted or discovered himself into a homeopath. So he knows how things work. The discovery of potentization, the real breakthrough. So if this potentization was not discovered, then homeopathy might not be at present era. So initially, Hahnemann's aim was simply to reduce the side effects of large doses. Because large doses will give aggravation. So he was thinking of something else. But through experimentation, he made a revolutionary discovery. The therapeutic power of a drug is not in its quantity, but in its potentization. Through systematic dilution and succussion, such as vigorous shaking, the remedy becomes more effective dynamically, even though it contains less material substance. So we know that even it is not having any substance, even it is having very less material substance, the effect of the remedy is more dynamic. For example, even inert substance like charcoal, from which carbo-wedge remedy was derived, club mousse, lycopodium medicine, which had no medicinal effects in crude form, or the original form, it was not having any medicinal properties, but it became powerful medicines when potentized. This was a game changer. Conventional medicine had never considered that reducing a substance could increase its energy. So we didn't know that a small quantity, or when we reduce a substance, it can also contribute to increase its energy. That was the game changer, mind blown. Again, dynamic action of drugs. So the drugs actually act in three ways. Mechanically, for example, laxatives. Chemically, like antacids. Dynamically, like homeopathic medicines, for example. Homeopathy focuses on the dynamic action, which is the key to healing. The higher potencies, diluted and succussed, are considered to have much more significant effects than crude drugs because they express the vital energy or dynamics of the substance. Modern pharmacology supports Hahnemann findings. So, even modern medicine has observed that extremely small doses of a drug still create a physiological effect. Modern pharmacology supports Hahnemann's findings. Even modern medicine has observed that extremely small doses of a drug still create a physiological effect. Titration, that is grinding, as seen in this picture, you know what is titration, right? Increases the speed and effectiveness of drug action. Then succussion, what is that? Vigorous shaking, like this picture, further enhances the drug's activity. This aligns exactly with Hahnemann's principle of potentization, yet conventional medicine. Why homeopathy is more than just dilution? That's another question. Many critics say homeopathy is just what? Water. So they're saying that homeopathy is just nothing but water. Like if you go to the ocean and swim, you're getting all the remedy. Like they will mock us like that. But what they fail to understand is dilution alone is not what makes a remedy effective. It is the combination of dilution plus succussion. If you just put a medicine on the ocean, it will not be much effective. You should also succuss the remedy. Succussion should be done. So dilution plus succussion only will make that remedy effective. Otherwise, it's just a waste. You know, everyone knows. That releases the drug's healing power is dilution and succussion. Potentization transforms a substance into a pure energy-based form, capable of communicating with the vital force directly. So it's not just water, okay? So Hahnemann concept of potentization and dose reduction. Hahnemann, through his experiments, discovered that when drugs were given in full strength, they often aggravated the patient's condition. This led him to systematically dilute them, a process that unexpectedly improved results. So when he gave large doses, he saw that aggravation occurring. The condition is getting worse. Aggravation means condition is getting worse, right? So this made him to think that what if I dilute the medicine? And he just diluted the medicine and he just gave a shake. And when he gave that shake and gave the medicine to the patient, he seen some good improvements. So his method of potentization, that is gradually diluting and succussing, that is vigorous shaking, revealed that the healing power of a drug did not depend on its crude quantity but on its dynamic energy. So again, key observation and discoveries that he made. Potentization unlocks hidden powers. Many substances that were inactive in their crude state, example carboveg, lycopodium, silica, become therapeutically active through potentization. This process enhanced the dynamic vital action of the drugs rather than their mechanical or chemical effects. So we know drugs have three types: mechanical, chemical and dynamic. Instead of all this mechanical and chemical, it directly acts on dynamic action. So to understand homeopathy, how it works, actually you should learn some basic physics too. The dynamic action over material dose. In homeopathy, the dynamic nature of medicine is more significant than its physical or chemical composition. Higher potency, example 30C and above, produce deeper, more specific effects than crude substance. Then modern pharmacology's indirect support. Professor H.A Clarke's research in pharmacology in 1933 acknowledged that drugs act even in minute amounts beyond what can be physically measured. Titration, grinding speeds up drug action. Succussion, vigorous shaking enhances drug activation. So that's what observed and discovered. Again, Hahnemann's methodological approach to potency. Centesimal scale. Each step of dilution, example 1C, 2C, 3C, etc., follows a 1:100 ratio with vigorous succussion. Beyond physical detection, that is potency is diluted beyond Avogadro's number. Comment below what is Avogadro's number if you know it. So approximately 12C loses detectable material traces yet retain therapeutic power. So human body as the most sensitive instrument. So human body is considered as the most sensitive instrument. The human organism responds to these dynamic potencies even when scientific instruments cannot detect them. That's why what we fail in scientific researches. We are not able to currently we are not able to give the results scientifically. This is why scientifically we failed in some aspects, because even though the human body is considered as most sensitive instrument, the world didn't find an instrument as sensitive as our human body to detect the power of homeopathic dynamization, homeopathic potency or homeopathic dynamic power. That's what we failed. So I hope in future we'll get such kind of instruments and the people will bravely prove it. So the role of dose in homeopathy. Many homeopaths struggle to grasp the dynamic concept of drugs and remain fixed on material doses. Hahnemann's question, how small can the dose be will still ensuring a perfect cure? And the answer was, no theory can determine this. Only experimentation and observation can. So only if we experiment and observe things, then only we will be able to grasp the dynamic concept of drugs. So large doses as used in allopathy affects healthy parts unnecessarily, while homeopathic doses act precisely on the disease part. So is it the reason that homeopathic medicine has no side effects? Like as allopathy is giving large doses, it will act on other healthy parts. Like if you have this remedy for heartburn, your kidney will be damaged, your liver will be damaged, that will be damaged, this will be damaged. So you eat this medicine to not get that affected. So why all these? Because it's given in large doses. But homeopathy is giving in small doses and it will not act unnecessarily. If someone asks, like if I am eating for sore throat, how does that medicine know that I'm having sore throat and my sore throat will be cured but not acting on other healthy parts? If they're asking such kind of questions while you are in clinic, tell them our medicine is dynamic and dynamic power is beyond something to be explained. So if that person is having sore throat, then our medicine being dynamic will act only on the part that is affected and will not affect unnecessary parts. So you should give reasons like this. again, key organon, aphorisms on dose. That is from aphorism 278 to 280. Aphorism 278 states that the correct dose must be found by experience and not theory. Aphorism 279 explains that even highly diluted remedies retain curative power, provided they cause a mild homeopathic aggravation, temporary worsening of symptoms. That's what homeopathic aggravation. It's just temporary. If you're not giving that medicine again, then that aggravation will be subsided. So, aphorism 280 says that doses should be reduced to the point where they cause only an imperceptible aggravation, proving the effectiveness without excessive distress. So that's why what homeopath should do. He should not just know the disease, knowledge of disease. He should know the knowledge of the dose, knowledge of repetition of the dose, knowledge of the potency, knowledge of the remedy, everything. Then only he will know that if aggravation is coming, he shouldn't give extra dose. Instead, what he must do, he should stop. He should understand that the person is cured, it's just mild aggravation from the remedy. That's what homeopathy should be. Homeopaths should be skilled at. Again, potentization and aggravation. Hahnemann introduced potentization, which is the process of diluting and shaking, succussion, a substance to enhance its healing power while reducing its toxic effects. That's why there's no side effects. We reduce the toxic effects because we are diluting it. Initially, slight aggravations, temporary worsening of symptoms, were seen as a necessary part of the cure. However, with advancements, homeopaths today can avoid aggravation by how choosing the correct potency, avoiding frequent repetition, consider the patient's susceptibility, that is sensitivity to medicine. So he must be really skilled. Homeopaths should be really skilled for these things. And I believe that each one of you is really skilled. I believe each one of you can be a skilled homeopath. So what you should note that if a slight aggravation occurs, it indicates that the remedy is correctly chosen. And you should avoid frequent repetition. Again, next one is role of susceptibility in choosing the right potency. The higher the similarity between drug symptoms and the disease symptoms, higher the potency required. Susceptibility, that is sensitivity of the patient, helps decide the appropriate dose. Young doctors should start with low potency like 30C or 200C, like Pulsatilla 30, Pulsatilla 200, and gradually progress to higher ones as they gain experience. If you gain experience, you know what potency, you will be very, very highly skilled in that case. The law of least action and minimum dose. Finke applied Maupertuis' law, a French mathematician, to homeopathy. Nature always chooses the smallest action needed to create change. So a small change, a small step can give a great change, isn't it? So this supports Hahnemann's idea of minimum dose, the smallest quantity of a medicine required to stimulate the body's healing response. Our medicine is just small, isn't it? There's just 1 or 2 globules is enough. The person can be healed. For example, if the person is suffering from a chronic disease, if the person is having regularly taking medicine, that small medicine, then even that great disease will be relieved, isn't it? So the key principle, the strength of a homeopathic remedy depends on both its preparation, that is potentization process, and its quantity, that is dilution level used. So even though the quantity is small, the potentization will be great. The importance of potentization, homeopathy. So without potentization, homeopathy would have remained at the level of Hippocrates and Haller, who only experimented with crude doses. Potentization transformed homeopathy into a practical and effective system of medicine. Now let's see what is the analogy with modern medicine or modern science. Just like radioactivity and electricity are invisible yet powerful, homeopathic potencies work through dynamic energy rather than material substance. So a homeopathic potency is also having invisibility power because we cannot see that. Yeah, but homeopathy medicine will be like, you can't see me because it's invisible. And comparison between potentization and serums. Serum, modern medicine's attempt at modifying a disease poison, are unreliable because of 2 things, main things. They are derived from living animals which vary in quality. Their effects lack consistency. But homeopathic botanization, on the other hand, is an objective and mechanical. That is, it doesn't rely on living organisms. Then it is precise and measurable, like sugar of milk, alcohol, and water is definite proportion. And then stable and long lasting, like almost indestructible. You know that there's a saying that actually our homeopathic medicine doesn't have any expiry date or something like that. If you know some about that answer, please comment below. I want to know that. So unlimited in application, potencies can be increased indefinitely. Just take that plusing potency, you know that, right? Take that, suckers it and shake it, give it. That's it. Homeopathy and modern science. Stuart Close compared Hahnemann's botanization with modern scientific theories. First one is atomic theory in chemistry, that is infinitesimal doses like atoms. Interatomic theory, that is energy exists in non-material forms. Electric potential, small forces creating big effects. Bacteriology, infinitesimal poisons from bacteria causing disease. This means homeopathy aligns with modern discoveries even though its mechanism is still mysterious. That's what's happening. The mechanism of homeopathy is still mysterious. I hope you guys will find it. Just find it, okay? You can be a scientist or whatever. Maybe you can even discover what is not discovered yet. So the conclusion of this chapter is similia similibus curantur. Law of similars alone was not enough. And botanization, a minimum dose, complete the trinity of homeopathy. Homeopathy is not just theoretical but practically effective. The future may bring scientific explanation for the dynamic power of homeopathic remedies, but their effectiveness is already proven through experience. I believe you are that future who bring that scientific explanation. The final takeaway of this chapter. Hahnemann's discovery of botanization transformed medicine by shifting focus from material dose to dynamic energy. The right dose in the homeopathy is not about quantity but about the correct potency and its ability to match the patient's vital force. This principle, when understood and applied correctly, leads to gentle yet powerful healing, especially in chronic disease. So, if you grasp this concept fully, you will no longer see homeopathy as just an alternative treatment, but as an advanced science of energy medicine. And that's all for today. Thank you for listening. I hope that you will subscribe to my channel and please put a thumbs up and comment below if you have any suggestions or any doubts. Thank you. Have a great day.